Welcome to day 2 of our 5-day challenge to get your kids to listen without yelling at them.
Day 2 of 5. Hope day 1 went well. Did you have fun with the smiling? Go over to Instagram and share what you're learning. We'll have corresponding posts over there. This is number 2 of 5. We've got a whole new challenge for you today. Remember to keep journaling because it's important for you to remember what you're learning and experiencing as we go through these challenges. The objective for day 2 is to accept and acknowledge that slip-ups and mistakes are going to happen.
Definitely.
And as they do, we want to learn from those, but also we want to practice very speedy self-forgiveness. I say self-forgiveness, but I mean forgiveness in general. We want to be very forgiving toward our spouse, toward our kids, and especially towards ourselves.
This past weekend, we decided to watch a movie that we had watched a long time ago. We hadn't seen it in a long time. It's called Sully, and it's about the miracle on the Hudson River when Captain Sullenberger landed a plane on the Hudson.
All 155 people survived.
Which is unheard of. But as he was reviewing his life as a pilot, he remembered back on the movie to a time when he was first learning to fly as a young man. And his flight instructor said, "You're going to make mistakes. Everyone does. Just be sure to learn from them." And I think that's so important. I mean, if we are expecting to be perfect and then we get tripped up by our mistakes, it's really hard to recoup from that. But if we know we're going to make mistakes and we say, okay, this was expected, what can I do to learn from it? That's where we are coming from today, accepting that we are going to make mistakes. And what are we going to do with those mistakes?
Exactly. Vicki, I love that you shared that example because we're going to make the mistakes, and if we can learn from those, then they actually become a valuable part of our experience. A lot of the times when we end up yelling at our kids, it's out of frustration because things didn't go the way that we planned it to. Well, welcome to Earth. How often do things go the way you planned them to?
Our mantra today on day 2 is, I am a kind, benevolent, generous, loving parent.
Say this over and over to yourself. This is one thing, Vicki, when I'm doing my coaching with parents, the personal coaching that I do. When I say this to parents, they stop. It's like,
wait, what?
Am I? And they appreciate it. And sometimes they get tears in their eyes. I want you to know this. The fact that you're here on this channel watching this video tells me that you are a kind, benevolent, generous, loving parent. You want to do your best. Thank you for that. Acknowledge that and say it to yourself. That's why that's the mantra for today.
And that brings us into our challenge for the day.
Yes, let's get into that.
This is, if you've watched the videos, you know this is one of my very favorite challenges, our very favorite tools that we're going to practice today, and that is the do-over.
You're going to make some mistakes, hopefully.
Actually,
today.
yeah, in our challenge, we're going to hope that today you slip up at least 2 or 3 times. Watch for them. Watch for the times that you start to lose your cool a little bit.
Because that gives you the opportunity to do today's challenge, which is the do-over. I'm guessing you're going to have a couple of opportunities to do this. So remember how the do-over works. You have to notice first that you've slipped, that you're going down the path that you didn't want to go on. So when you feel that anger bubbling up, or when you hear yourself yelling, which is what we're trying to stop with this 5-day challenge anyway, that's the time you get to do this. Vicki, talk us through the process of the do-over.
With the do-over, you recognize what went wrong, you know, and you kind of notice that point. It's like, ooh, if I could have responded this way, things would have gone differently, perhaps. And so I come back and I say, that didn't quite go the way that I really wanted it to. I would like a do-over. When you said this, this is how I wish I would have responded.
Yes.
And you practice it. Now, there's so many reasons for this. I am a speech-language pathologist, and so practice is absolutely key, right? But I'm also a piano teacher. I don't know how many of you know that. I taught piano for probably 27 years. And if you make the same mistake in a song and you just go, oh, next time I'll fix that. I'm going to remember the B flat next time. And you play it, almost never You do
Right.
not
You will
remember.
repeat the
Yes.
mistake.
And the only way to really correct that is to go back in the moment and practice it 3 or 4 times with the correct note, so that when you are performing it, the correct note comes out.
You know what's really amazing to me? She said that she teaches piano. Our daughter does as well.
Yeah.
And somehow, both of them can tell if a kid has not practiced.
Or if they practice correctly.
How did you know this?
Yep.
The skill set changes as you do the practice. And that's why I said up front, I hope that you're going to make some mistakes today. Probably you will, and that's good. So rather than being tipped over by that, it's simply an opportunity to practice exactly what Vicki has just shared, the do-over. Now, it doesn't have to be with someone else. You can do a do-over internally as well.
Right. You know, it's so funny because a lot of the times, and you'll recognize this, how often do you get done with an interaction and in your head you're going, crud, I wish I would have handled that different. I did not like the way that went at all. And so you think that, but what are you going to do about it? If you don't practice a do-over, even if you're not, like you said, with that person, but if you're not practicing, okay, I'm going to run through that whole scenario and change the way that I did it, you're not making any new muscle memory if you don't practice the do-over. So today we're going to have you try and find a couple of situations where you can do the do-over. Just practice a new way of responding. I recently saw the new video representation of Little Women. And I love in that movie at one point, one of Joe says to her mom, "You're so patient." She goes, "Oh, I have a lot of anger. I'm angry every day. But I have had 40 years of practicing to be patient. It's not in my nature." And you know, a lot of times when we're angry, we don't want to let go. I don't want to do over. I'm kind of mad. I kind of like feeling upset about this. But what we really want is to become a person who's able to take control of our emotions and be patient. I mean, that's what we're saying. We want to be patient parents.
Movie references.
There's yet another.
We're just coming out of the holidays.
We
the
watched a
filming
lot
of
of
this
movies.
challenge. And we saw also It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Story about Mr. Rogers and some of the things that he taught. And the depiction by Tom Hanks I thought was really nicely done. There was a part in that movie also with a similar reference. Do you remember when somebody was talking to Mr. Rogers' wife about this man that seemed too good to be true?
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, he's not perfect. It's his practice." In other words, he had intentionally chosen to do this. I get this about positivity. Oh, you're so positive. Well, hello, it's my practice.
Yeah.
This is what I do day in, day out. I'm here in this office for 8 hours a day practicing what we talk about here on the channel. So I hope I'm good at it with all that practice. What are you practicing? And that's why the challenge is there. All right, Vicki, let's shift over to the parenting aspect here for a minute too, because obviously this do-over is going to help in any relationship you have in any setting, whether it's work or your marriage or parenting. I want you also during today's challenge to look for an opportunity to offer a do-over to your child.
Now, notice the word offer. You can't do it in a demanding way. Wait, come here. I want to do that again.
Do that again.
Right. It's an
That probably
offering
won't fly.
of your own.
So it might sound like, hey, buddy, maybe that didn't happen the way you really wanted it to. Would you like a do-over? You can actually say it that way if you want to. Giving that chance to your kids to learn the same thing that you're learning through practicing the do-overs.
Which brings us to another point, and that is find a way to say, you know, we learn a lot from our mistakes. Let's take the taboo out of mistakes. Again, remember we talked about that one of our greatest tools of parenting is example and modeling. And so as we model for a child that we learn through mistakes, they're going to learn that, and it's a great life lesson.
The modeling is so important. And one of the greatest resources we have as parents is all the mistakes that we make or that our kids make, because every one of those becomes now an opportunity to learn this. And how valuable for your children to learn from you today that a do-over is not only a possibility, but it's a powerful way to turn things around. where it could have just gone off of this cliff, and instead we're using that to elevate things to a higher level. This is day 2 of 5. Please commit to yourself and to your kids that you will do all 5 days. We have 3 more challenges for you, and keep practicing the ones that we've talked about already. Connect to us on Instagram, where we can interact and share ideas with each other, and we'll see you on day 3.
Her head was down, face locked onto the phone. And I wished I'd had a number so